welcome. Bill and I make every effort to purchase only food that has been grown organically. We're very fortunate that we live in an area where this is readily available, but not everyone has that opportunity. Many people we talk to assume that our focus on organic is simply because of personal health issues. Of course, that makes sense. Who would choose food that has been grown and sprayed with toxic chemicals? There is, however, another reason that has much bigger importance.
In part one of Food for Our Future, we talked about some of the influences on how we choose the foods we ate in the past and some of the big changes that have happened in our food in the past century. In part two, we want to look at the source of our food, the soil it's grown in, and why it's important for planetary as well as personal health.
Agriculture is the management of the plants we grow to eat and the soil we grow them in. It's the foundation of modern society. The future of both human and non-human life depends on our wise use of this resource. So let's take a closer look at plants and soil. What we see here is the miracle of plant growth. Specialised cells on the root tip guide the roots into the darkness of the soil to find water filled with minerals, while cells in the leaf guide it upwards toward the light of the sun and the atmosphere. It's the balance of these two forces that produce photosynthesis. It's photosynthesis that allows plants to create the nutrients that animate the animal kingdom. Vegetables are autotrophic. They can take nourishment directly from sun, water and minerals. The vegetable kingdom is the source of all animal life on planet Earth. It's vegetation that can combine the features of water, air, sunlight and soil to create the essentials for all other life forms.
Our bond with the soil is the foundation of food quality. Soil is often forgotten in our race to increase productivity. This drive for increased produce is not to feed humans. It's to feed cattle, chickens, pigs, farmed fish, and other animals. We're pulling the life out of the soil not to meet our own needs, but to fatten up animals to eat for our pleasure. In doing this, we waste the energy of the soil and create dirt. Dead soil is dirt. Dirt is not the source of a living planet. We cannot base our future on dead soil that we then artificially enhance with petrochemicals. When we don't take care of the soil, it doesn't take care of us. The living organisms present in soil include bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoa, and a whole variety of larger soil fauna. This includes springtails and mites, earthworms, ants, and insects, most of whom spend all of their life underground. Healthy soil serves as a digestive system for the environment by breaking down organic material into a form that can be absorbed by root systems. This helps plants to maintain health. Soil microbes not only digest nutrients, but they also protect plants against pathogens and other threats.
The terrestrial food chain begins with the soil. More creatures live within the soil than in any other environment on the planet. It's the single most diverse ecosystem. All this life is essential for creating texture, water retention, availability of nutrients, and general fertility of healthy soil. Healthy plants with high nutrient density are dependent on healthy soil. Any way of eating that undermines this is ultimately bad for the planet and bad for us as well. Naturally occurring nitrogen is an essential product of healthy soil and farming practices. It's required for production of amino acids and is vital for the creation of proteins and photosynthesis. One of the hallmarks of modern agriculture is the excessive application of this chemical to increase crop production. It's estimated that global nitrogen fertiliser use will increase threefold by 2050 to meet the growing drive for production. The problem is that use of chemical fertilisers is often accompanied by pollution and soil degradation. These fertilisers and pesticides are washed away through erosion because of intensive farming. They end up contaminating rivers, streams, lakes and even deep aquifers. The natural life of the soil is killed by this chemical cocktail continuously pumped into the earth. This same template has been used all around the world with the same drastic results: dead soil and dead water.
This trend for chemical solutions to agriculture shot forward when industrial processes were developed for making nitrogen to be used for weapons during World War II. Following the war, these processes were used to produce cheaper and more available nitrogen fertilizers. The weapons of war were now focused on the soil, artificially promoting faster growth. The Green Revolution of the 1960s introduced new aggressive approaches to farming by increasing the use of chemicals, creation of large land holdings, and hybrid and genetically modified food crops in order to gain higher yields. The short-term gains soon exposed some serious errors. The primary benefits of the movement were to the chemical industry. These moves were expensive and drove many small farmers out of business. The goals of big agriculture is to eliminate small farms, degrade natural soil, and generate food from a chemical medium. The greatest tragedy has been the loss of healthy soil. Generating 3 centimeters of topsoil takes 1,000 years, but we're losing 36 billion tons of soil every year.
No one knows for certain when humans started their development of agriculture. The usual date is set around 10,000 BC, but recent discoveries on the banks of the Sea of Galilee are pushing that date back another 10,000 years. Researchers found agricultural tools and evidence of domesticated plant types. Similar early planting evidence exists along riverbanks in several parts of the Fertile Crescent and in Africa. More organised agriculture appeared independently in Mesopotamia, China, South America, Central America and Eastern North America. The great agricultural societies were challenged with creating a new relationship with the environment. The resources of water and soil required more focused attention and stewardship. For agriculture to succeed, we needed to create a different bond with nature. The bond has often been broken and continues to be damaged because of our poor understanding of the soil biome and the environment. As food supplies became more abundant, human populations grew, and the more settled way of living with permanent structures and the increased use of animals created new unintended problems. Agriculturists overpopulated. More children were needed to till the fields. More land was needed to be cleared for additional mouths to feed. To give an idea as to the urgency of our need to rethink the way we grow food, consider this. It has been estimated that in the next 40 years we will have to produce the same amount of food as the past 8,000 years.
Many of the challenges presented in the Neolithic Revolution are still unresolved, and even more urgent today with increased population. Healthy soil can produce centuries of life-giving food, including all the grains, the beans, the fruits and vegetables we need for a healthy life. Productive soil can feed a whole community. When this is neglected, tragedy happens. Empires have fallen because of damage to the soil. Major civilizations have neglected this fact to their peril. Civilizations that collapsed due in great part to destructive soil practices include the Anasazi within the boundaries of the modern United States, the Minoan culture in Crete, Great Zimbabwe in Africa, Angkor Wat, and the Harappan Indus Valley cities in Asia, and also Eastern Island in the Pacific Ocean. And this can happen today. These cultures failed because they ruined the source of their food. It's easy to view these disasters as ancient failings, but examples from this past century can be found. Between 1936 and 1940, over 3.5 million people migrated out of the American plains, moving primarily to California. It was the largest human migration in the history of America. Millions of people were left homeless and destitute. The cause of this tragedy? Bad farming. The farmers on the Great Plains did not understand the ecology of the soil. Plowing deeper using the new technology of mechanized plows, eliminating natural grasses that held soil, and burning off the fields, farmers managed to kill the soil biome and create loose and fragile soil. Following a drought and high winds, the soil became dust. This dust rose in huge clouds, moving millions of tons of topsoil. Storms blew powdery sand from Kansas to as far north as New York and Boston. The resulting destruction of small farms meant that large corporations moved in and took over. They use the new generation of chemical technology and water from deep aquifers. The world grows 95% of its food in the uppermost layer of soil, making topsoil one of the most important components of our food system. Nearly half of the most productive soil in the world has disappeared in the last 150 years as a result of the way that we farm.
In the United Kingdom, flooding is occurring at an increased rate. The flooding of towns and villages are largely due to poor land management. Overworked soil and the removal of trees and other vegetation that can hold water allow water to run off into rivers and streams. Britain has already lost 85% of its fertile topsoil since 1850. Government subsidies of poor farming practices, excessive production and support for nutritional non-essentials such as dairy, sugars and meat have a central role in the steady decrease in healthy soil. There are effective and practical ideas for reversing this situation. They're not new, but they do involve learning from the past. Organic agriculture can reverse many of the problems of the excessive use of chemicals in farming. Organic farming encourages the use of natural organic compounds to fertilise soil, maximising the content of microorganisms that enliven the soil biome. The direct benefits of organically grown food on human health are important, but the long-term environmental benefits may be even greater. These benefits challenge many modern concepts, including the view held by many that animals are essential in agriculture. Consider this. Using manure from cattle is simply pushing vegetation through the digestive system of an animal. This process is exactly what happens in healthy soil. If you leave vegetation on the ground, the earthworms, termites and other organisms break them down and return the nutrients for recycling without the animal. Some of the ideas that drive the modern organic agriculture movement come from the work of F.H. King. King was an agricultural scientist. His masterwork, Farmers of 40 Centuries, was published in 1911 and was based on his studies and experience of farming in China, Korea and Japan. King recorded how farmers in the Far East were able to benefit from crop production off the same land for thousands of years using efficient irrigation, crop rotation and human waste management.
In 1937, American President Franklin D. Roosevelt said in response to the tragedy of the Dust Bowl, "The nation that destroys its soil destroys itself." Modern agriculture seems focused on killing off the environment and then building a man-made replacement. This is obvious in the myopic focus on chemical fertilization, pest control, and the stubborn refusal to abandon animal agriculture.
A study on the nutritional value of organically grown food was carried out at Newcastle University in the UK. It showed there were significant and meaningful differences in nutritional values. The range of antioxidants substantially higher, in some cases as high as 69% in organic food. In humans, antioxidants provide a defence from the cell damage caused by free radicals. They help the body reduce inflammation. The study, based on an analysis of 343 peer-reviewed studies from around the world, was published by the British Journal of Nutrition. They examined differences between organic and conventional fruits, vegetables and cereals. Antioxidants strengthen plant immune functions, so higher levels of antioxidants in organic crops may result from their lack of artificial chemical protection.
Many of us have the luxury of available food with a broad range of choice. The goods and services we choose to support have a direct influence on the world as a whole.
Choosing to support local and regional organic farmers is not only a wise choice in terms of eating fresh and healthy food, but it's supporting the creation of healthy soil.
Small farmers produce about 30% of the food used around the world. They need our support, and they are the most likely to pursue plans to improve soil and benefit from the production of organic produce. Any discussion of soil must also address the issue of how much land is needed to feed the world. At present, over 9 billion acres of land is used to feed us. If a vegan diet were adopted, it would only need 2 billion acres.
The move to organic promotes biodiversity, a reduction of chemical pollution and creates jobs. We can all be part of the solution. Whenever possible, support organic growers, especially local sources, and use your power as a consumer to make a difference. And please join Bill and I. Go vegan, buy organic.
Thank you for listening.